Hello everyone, I am Pragya Srivastav, EC Department, AKGC, Ghaziabad. Today I am here to record a lecture on control system. The subject code is KEC 602 and presently we are going to start its unit 1 and the topic which I am going to discuss is Introduction to Control Systems. So in my present lecture, I will be discussing what is the introduction of control system. Further, we will be discussing the classification of control system. We have open loop control system and closed loop control system. Then we will be discussing different examples of open loop control system and closed loop control system. Then we will be discussing what is the difference between open loop and closed loop control system. We will be further discussing all the elements of control system and the presence of feedback in the control system. So at the end of this course, meaning when the student will finish off all the 5 units, the course outcome which a student will understand can be mentioned as. So at the end of this course, the student will demonstrate the ability to describe the basics of control system. So along with the presence of feedback and along with the types of feedback, a control system without feedback which is called open loop control system, a control system which is with feedback is called closed loop control system. Student will be able to understand its effects, and in addition to that they will be able to relate these different techniques. They will be able to relate the different techniques which we have with the help of block diagram reduction. So in block diagram reduction or signal flow graph or modeling of various physical systems, we will be studying how a complex control system is reduced. So we have different methods. First is signal flow graph, then is modeling of various control systems, then is block diagram, that is also called, we also call it BDR. This is block diagram reduction. Then explanation of the concept of state variable for representation of LTI systems. So here the state variables which are used to represent a control system. Interpret the time domain response analysis for various types of inputs along with the time domain specifications. So we will be also studying the transient analysis of different control systems. The student will be able to distinguish the concepts of absolute and relative stability. So absolute and relative stability will come in terms of gain margin and phase margin for continuous data systems. At the end, the student will be able to interpret the concept of frequency domain response and their specifications. So moving further in the lecture, introduction. Control systems are an integral part of our life and play very important role. So starting from a simple domestic appliance such as a bread toaster or washing machine to some complex power plant, some complex systems such as electricity generation using turbines, these power plants, everywhere we have this control system mechanism. So all around everywhere we can see that we have different types of control systems in this modern society. So the typical examples are from launching of a satellite to regulating power in a power plant, now tracking anemone on a radar based system. Each and every bit is made up of a control system. Now moving further into this, we have a typical example of control system in our nature, that is humans. So our body itself is a great example of a complex control system. So because we have so many control systems in nature, respiratory system, digestive system, and we have feedbacks as well. For example, if I see some like we have a reflex system inbuilt in our body, the reflex will act accordingly so that I am able to save myself. So that is something feedback mechanism already taking place into my body. So I'll get some I'll get some signals into my brain so that the foreign infection or foreign attacking agent is not able to harm me. So the first part is system. It is set of things which work together, coordinate together as part of mechanism or an interconnecting network. So as a whole we have a complex network. And next thing is the control system. So the word control systems can be studied as two. So the first thing is control, the second thing is system. So here we mean to regulate, to monitor, or to command, to make some executions out of it, direct command or a system, so that we get the desired result, we get the desired throughput, we get the desired objective, and the purpose of the task is achieved. So this is how we control our system. Next, here we have a block diagram of a control system. We give an input to the system and then we get an output here. So this is a typical, or we can say this basic block diagram of a control system. So here we will be telling that further in this lecture we will be studying the presence of feedback, and of course there will be a open loop control system where we will not be having the feedbacks. So control system. A control system is an arrangement or a combination of various physical components. These are also called subsystems, connected in such a manner so that to attain a certain objective. So attain a certain objective means we have some desired expectation, we have some desired result. So to achieve that desired result, we want the different subsystems to coordinate together, to remain connected in a manner to achieve this certain objective. So let's say we are talking about a toaster. So the toaster will be having a plate on which we will rest the bread, on which we will put the bread. There will be a heating element and there will be an electronic circuit behind that. So all these elements, that plate, that hot plate, that heating element, and that cabinet and the case in which the complete system is kept, the electronic circuit and the switchboard, all the subsystems should behave in a manner so that they will result into heating up of the bread. So ultimately what we want my bread to just get heated up and roasted up. We don't want it to burn. So we will be having a system which will provide a message from the output that proper heating has been achieved. Now we can switch off the heating element. So this is what we call the coordination of different subsystems. So this is the feedback mechanism which we have. Input is typically excitation applied to the system. So here in the typical example of a toaster, the power which we are giving in the input power which we are giving to the toaster can be considered as the input. The excitation applied to the system from an external source to attain the output. Here the output is heat produced from the toaster and the input is the power. What is output? It is the actuating signal attained from the system is called the output signal. The control action, a quantity responsible for activating the system. So control action here will be monitoring the proper heat. Once it is heated to a desired level, then the control action should work in such a manner that the heating should stop now. So this is all about the elements of a control system, that is input, output and control action. So further we have classification of control system. We have continuous time and discrete time control systems. So control systems can be classified as continuous time control system and discrete time control system based on type of the signal used. So depending upon the type of the signal, if this signal which we are using is continuous time, then we call it then we call the system to be continuous time control system. If this particular signal is discrete, we call it discrete time control system. So a continuous time control system, all the signals are continuous in time. So and in discrete time control system, there exist one and more discrete time signals. So here I'll make a small representation. This is a continuous time signal, and here this is a discrete signal. So we are talking this with respect to time. So here we have this one is continuous time, this one is discrete time signal, and here of course we will be having amplitude, say let us say voltage or something. So then we have serial input, single input, single output, and multiple input and multiple output control systems. So we call it SISO, MIMO, or CISO or MIMO control systems. So control systems can be classified further as CISO control systems and MIMO control systems based on number of inputs that are present and number of outputs that are present. So we have single input, single output control system. Here we will be having, as the name itself suggests, only one input and only one output, whereas in MIMO, MIMO control systems we have multiple inputs, we have like more than one. So we have more than one input and of course we have more than one output. So this is all about the classification of control systems. Next, coming on to open loop control system. So in this previous slide which we have studied, this is of course an example of open loop control system. So in closed loop control system, we will be having a sort of feedback present here, and here we will be having a summation point, like it will depend which kind of control system is it, positive feedback or negative feedback. So when we do not have this feedback, it is open loop control system. So the diagram showing here is, open loop control system. Open loop control system. Here control systems can be classified as open loop control system and closed loop control system based on feedback path. So that feedback path which I have told you just in the previous slide, that feedback path will determine whether the system is an open loop or closed loop. Of course, the closed loop control system will have a feedback. Further, this feedback can be positive or negative. In open loop control system, output is not fed back to the input. So we actually at the input side, we do not have any idea about what is happening at the output node. Let us say we are talking about a toaster. Let us consider a case where the toaster is not having the feedback part. So imagine a case in which the user is unaware of the heating process, heating speed. So the bread browning is taking place and the overheating can take place, and the bread might get burned, and the user itself has no idea that the bread is burnt because the lid is on. So when you just uncover it, when you just remove the lid, then only you will come to know. So imagine a case in which we have a feedback to the same system. The feedback means the part of output will be fed back to the input, giving an information that what amount of heat has been produced, that browning of the bread has already been achieved, the roasting of the bread is already been achieved, so we can turn off the heating system. So typically, talking about open loop control systems, the output is not fed back to the input. So the control action is independent of the desired output. So the desired output is proper browning of the bread, and which is not achieved. So the proper browning of the bread is independent of the control action. The following figure shows the block diagram of open loop control system. So here we see it is a open loop control system. We have given an input, we have given a controller, and controller will ensure the actuating signal, whether the actuating signal, the speed and the intensity, everything will be everything will be controlled by the controller element, which is here. Next, here we have the plant. It is of course the subject on which the controlling action or the actuating signal is acting upon. So this plant is basically a subject, and this actuating signal is basically acting on the subject, and here the desired output is achieved. Here an output is applied to a controller and it produces an actuating signal or controlling signal. This signal is given as an input to the plant or process which is to be controlled. So the plant produces an output which is controlled. So this was all about open loop control system. This is often abbreviated as open loop control system. So further in my lectures I will be using this abbreviation, open loop control system, OLCS. Next we are moving further to closed loop control system. Here in closed loop control system, as we have already discussed in previous slide, the output is fed back to input, as simple as that. So information from output node is fed back to the input node depending upon kind of feedback it is, be it positive feedback, let it be negative feedback. So the positive feedback of course will come up with the positive sign, the negative feedback will be having this negative sign. So the control action is dependent on the desired output. Further, the following design shows a block diagram of a negative feedback closed loop system. So further I have to tell you that this will be abbreviated as closed loop control system. So this closed loop control system is, we have feedback. So first is, here I am writing the closed loop control system. So I am writing the abbreviation closed loop control system. We will be having two types. So first is positive feedback, and next we will be having negative feedback. So we will be discussing the block diagram into detail. So this is the input. Here we have seen the input which we are feeding to the system. The control action and the plant is the same as we had in open loop control system. Controller will just monitor the actuating signal, the speed, the intensity, the temperature, the heat, anything, and the plant is something which is acting as a subject, and the actuating signal is acting on the plant. Next we have output, and the portion of the output, like a message signal from the output, information from the output is fed back to the input, and here we had a feedback element. So this error signal is and we will be generally using the word ES, like yes, this error signal we will be using, will be notifying like this, and output will be notifying like CS, and input will be notified like so. Here we will be having this signal will be typically RS, and here it will be So we have we'll be having everything in frequency domain. So this error signal or ES, input signal or RS, output signal or CS. We will be discussing the derivations related to the output of the closed loop control system in maybe in my next lecture. Then the further discussion is the error detector produces an error signal. We are trying to describe what is this ES. Error detector will produce an error signal, which is nothing but the difference between the input and the fed back signal, the signal which is fed back, the information which is fed back from output and given as to input. The feedback signal is obtained from the block by considering the output of overall system as an input to this block. Now, why this is called as error signal? Telling us that, considering the same example of heater, when the overheating message is fed back to the input, the output will emerge and the error signal will be generated so as to control the heating action in a way that proper heating is achieved. We should not land up to a result where the bread is not roasted, and we should not land up to a result where bread is burnt. So this error signal will act accordingly so as we have the proper heating achieved. Next, further we have examples of open loop control system. The examples of control system, open loop control system, which we are generally using in our as domestic purpose. Here we have automatic washing machine. The washing machine runs according to the preset time, irrespective of washing is completed or not. Here we have like the automatic washing machine, complete procedure, complete functioning will work on open loop control system. Like here we have to see that, let us assume that the preset time has been has been set according to a process in which the washing is not been completed. So the automatic washing machine will land up finishing its task whether the washing is complete or not. Next is bread toaster. This machine runs as per adjusted time, irrespective of the as the toasting is completed or not. So in present scenario we have the bread toasters here, where we have a automatic switch off and switch on mechanism, where the heating element is provided with the sensors that sufficient heating has been achieved. So we have the bread toasters. Now advanced bread toasters are the one where we have a sensor fed back to the input. Now further, the closed loop control system. Automatic electric iron heating elements are controlled by output temperature of the iron. So the most advanced iron boxes which we are having presently in vicinity are generally closed loop system only. Here we have seen that there is a timer we have, and there is a heating element, and of course this heat is applied to the cloth. So now we have this portion of the output fed back with the help of sensor to the timer. So when the sensor is able to examine or is able to sense that sufficient heat is being produced and now it is at the verge to damage the cloth, we can land up by tuning off the heating element, and then we have this electrical energy which is one of the input. This electrical energy will be switched off on the basis of the sensor. Next we have servo voltage stabilizer. Voltage controller operates depending upon the output voltage of the system. Here also this voltage controller action is generating a response which is dependent upon the voltage of the system. Now moving on to the differences. Here this table concludes the differences between open loop control system and closed loop control system. The first difference is control action is independent of the desired output. Here the control action is dependent of the desired output. Let us take of the example of the conventional toaster and the most modern toasters. Now the conventional toasters are like there is a preset timer, like the toasting and the heating, the grilling action will only take place for 60 seconds. So let us say 60 seconds, whether the browning has been achieved or not, whether the roast process is complete or not, it will stop the heating element. Another that was all about the conventional ones. Let us talk about the modern and the most updated toasters. So here we have a message. We have the sensors which will sense the heat which has been achieved by the control action, which has been achieved by the toaster, bread. So this control action and this sensor will sense that how much heat has been produced already in the bread, and accordingly it will switch off the heating element. So of course the feedback is not present in open loop control system. Here the feedback is present, and there are also called non-feedback control system, and then we have feedback control system. So this non-feedback control system means absence, means the control system is not having a feedback. So they are like the second name for open loop control systems. So here they are easy to design. We can see that there is no complexity, and it is difficult to design. They are economical, they are costlier, and they are inaccurate, like proper heating has not been achieved in just 60 seconds, and they are accurate. So both of them comes with the pros and cons. We can see that here this is a merit here, it's a merit here, and then we can see that here we have merit here, and we can see that whenever your cost is the constraint, we are going for open loop control system. Whenever accuracy is the constraint, we should go for closed loop control system. So the most modern appliances, the most modern industry equipments are fed with all presence of feedback and closed loop control systems. So needless to say that closed loop control systems are way ahead than open loop control system when accuracy is the thing which we are discussing. Here we will be discussing one by one the elements of the control system. We have a plant, we have a feedback, we have a controller, we have a error detector. So we have already discussed, but here we have to understand the technical terms, and we have to understand that how the elements are incorporated into a closed loop control system. So we see that we have a reference transducer present at the input side. So this reference transducer will convert the input signal to the required signal. See here it is not justified, it is not specified that which kind of system, which kind of input it is. So depending upon the demand, depending upon the requirement, we have converted into R of t. Okay. So the signal presently shown in this diagram is in time domain. Then in my previous slide I told you that the input signal will be Rs. So that is the same representation, but here the conversion will be to the frequency domain. Sorry, here the conversion is into the time domain, here the conversion is into the frequency domain. At the same time, the error signal in frequency domain will be E of S, and of course here it will be the output signal will be Cs. So opposite to that we have Ct, we have error signal as Et. So this controller will of course generate a actuating signal which will act on the plant, and this plant will further give a controlled output, and controlled output is also called as desired output. So, this desired output is fed back to the transducer, and here at the transducer we have a sensor, a sensing element which will sense that whether the proper heating has been provided, achieved or not, and the same signal is fed with the help of a summation. We can have this summation as plus or minus. So, this is called adder. This element is called adder. So, moving on to the path which we have discussed, we see that if we discuss about this control system, this is the forward path and this one is the feedback path. This one is the feedback path. So, in my next lectures, we will be converting the control system into block diagram, we will be converting the control system into signal flow graph. Then understanding the concept of forward path and feedback path is very much important. So, whenever the flow is in the direction so as we are moving from input to output, this is called the forward path. So, this is forward path, and just opposite to this, when the direction of the movement is opposite to the direction of forward path, means we are moving in the opposite direction, that is from output to input, we call it feedback path. This is forward. So, forward path is the one here, this is the forward path and here it is the feedback path. So, we will be discussing the elements of the control system. In the elements of the control system, we have seen the plant. The portion of a system which is to be controlled or regulated is called as plant. I have already discussed this in my last slide. Just to go through the literature behind this, the portion of a system which is to be controlled or regulated is called as a plant or process. It is a unit where actual signal is performed, and if we observe in the above figure, the input of the plant is the controlled signal which is generated by a controller. So, a plant is nothing but a system that performs necessary actions on a control system which will produce a desired output. Now, coming on to feedback, it is a controlled action in which the output is sampled, or we can say output is sensed in a proportional signal is given to the input for automatic correction of any changes in the desired output. The output is given as feedback to input for correction. So, we generate an error signal accordingly. That is, the information about the output is given to the input for correcting the changes in output due to disturbances. This error detector will perform the function of error detection so as to compare the reference input with the feedback signal. In addition to this, the controller here the element of the system within itself or external to the system which controls the plant is called controller. The error signal will be a weak signal so as to be amplified and then modified for better control action. That was all about today's lecture. Thank you.